I'm Luna. I'm 25 years old. And if you asked me to describe my life in one word, it would be balance. I was born in a quiet town, in a middle-class home that smelled like chai in the morning and worn-out books in the evening. My father is an electrician, my mother a nurse. They worked hard, harder than most people ever saw, and everything they earned they gave to me and my younger brother, with hope folded neatly into every sacrifice. As a child, I was a dreamer. I used to sit by the window for hours, making up stories about the stars, about distant lands, and characters only I could see. But I also knew from early on, dreaming came second. First came studies, responsibilities, discipline. I wasn't taught to chase the clouds. I was taught to carry my family's future on my shoulders. It wasn't a bad life, but it wasn't entirely mine either. In school, I was the bright one, the one who always got good grades, who teachers praised, who relatives compared their kids to. But no one saw how hard it was. I used to study late into the night, not because I loved it, but because I was afraid. Afraid to disappoint the people who gave up everything for me. At home, we never talked about emotions. We talked about bills, fees, the rising cost of groceries. I learned to hide my anxiety, to swallow my sadness, to smile when I was tired. And somehow, over time, that mask became my face. I remember once during my final year of college, I had a panic attack in the bathroom before my exam. I sat on the floor, gasping, shaking, and still. I wiped my tears, fixed my hair, and walked in like nothing happened. Because that's what strong girls do, right? We keep going, even when we're crumbling. What saved me was writing. It started as a journal, then turned into poems, then stories. I wrote when I couldn't speak. I wrote when the world became too heavy. In my words, I wasn't just a daughter or a student. I was a warrior, a lover, a wanderer. I was free, but no one knew. Because when you come from a place where survival matters more than self-expression, you don't tell your parents you want to be a writer. You don't say, I want to chase art. You say, I'll apply for a government job. You say, I'll make you proud. So I lived two lives. By day, I was practical, responsible Luna. By night, I was the girl spilling her soul onto paper, dreaming of publishing a book, of having her voice heard. And I kept wondering, is it selfish to want more? To want a life that feels like mine? I met Arav during my internship. He was soft-spoken, observant, a little awkward, but he listened like nobody else ever had. One evening, after everyone left the office, I accidentally left my notebook behind. He returned it the next day and said, "Your words, they moved me." It was the first time someone saw the real me, the one I kept hidden. He didn't laugh at my dreams. He didn't tell me to be more practical. He told me I was powerful, that my voice mattered, that I deserved to live a life where I could breathe freely. Loving him felt like walking into the sun after years in the dark, but I was scared. Scared to trust it. Scared of what people would say. Scared of losing myself again. But he waited. He didn't push. He just stayed. And slowly, I started believing I was worth staying for. Today, I still live in the same town. I still help my family. But something has changed. I published my first short story last year, under my real name. My parents didn't understand at first, but when they saw my name in print, I caught my mother secretly framing the article. My father read it and said, "I didn't know you had all that inside you." I cried that night, not because of what he said, but because I finally felt seen. I'm still figuring life out. I'm not wildly successful. I'm not rich, but I am alive, in the truest sense. I laugh louder. I cry without shame. I love without fear. I write and I share and I dare to take up space.